I've personally closed hundreds of sales calls over the past 10 years, resulting in tens of millions of dollars in new revenue for many different companies selling all kinds of different services to all kinds of different people. And today I'm going to teach you what actually works, so by the end of this video you can dramatically increase your conversion rate on your sales calls, and as a result of that, dramatically increase your ability to generate new revenue for your business. So let's get straight into it. Now, this strategy hasn't just worked for me. I taught it to Chris, who's a marketing agency owner who recently hit his first $100,000 month in his agency using what I'm going to teach you. He posted here in one of our mentorship communities saying a huge personal and professional milestone. This month, my agency officially hit its first 100K month. When I joined, I told George, who's our head of strategy, he wanted to hit 100K month by the end of the year. It's a little longer than planned, 18 months, but we made it, and the journey told him more than he ever expected. Big thanks for the community. This is just the beginning. Next milestone, 500K a month at the end of this year, and he is going to hit it. This is me and Chris very recently at our awards evening where we're celebrating in Chris's success and all of the hard work he's put in over the past 12 months. Now, why is this important? It's important to understand because Chris achieved this not by generating more leads for his marketing agency. He achieved this by simply increasing the close rate that his team was able to achieve. So he could confidently spend more money on the front end, spend more time filling the pipeline because he knew he was going to be able to close them. And so we were able to squeeze more juice out of the existing pipeline development. And that's what you're going to be able to do today. This is the exact same strategy that we use at affluent.co, which is my marketing agency that I started 8 years ago. I still own it to this day. We maintain a 36.2% average close rate every month. This is it from last month at the time of recording this video. Now, this video is going to break down this exact strategy that I've used. I'll talk to Chris and a few others in our mentorship, and also how you can use AI to pour gasoline on the fire when you get everything going. So I want to first cover the biggest misconception in sales. This is where most people screw up when it comes to sales meetings. And we're going to go for a whole bunch of stuff today. So get rid of your tabs and make sure you are paying attention to the information that we're going to be going through. So first of all, I want to open with this. If I was to ask you a question, what stage of the sales meeting are the most objections handled? Or what stage of the sales meeting is the most objection handling done? What would you say? Most people think it's the closing stage at the end. But by that point, it's already too late to overcome the deeper emotion-led objections. And the real sale happens in the discovery stage. This is the stage at the start of the meeting, okay? This is the first portion of the meeting where we're understanding the prospect's current situation, their desired situation, and most importantly, this is where we uncover all of the pain. And it's the pain that we identify that allows us to overcome all of the most important pre-objections that most people struggle to overcome on the closing phase, which is why they never are able to maintain a consistent close rate. Which is why, if you're watching this right now and you've been on a sales call and you feel like you're just battling with people saying, I need to think about this, or I need to speak to my partner, or I don't know if this is the right time for me. If you've ever had those kind of conversations and you haven't known how to get them over the line, it's not because you're a bad objection handler. It's because you are not digging enough pain or identifying enough pain in the discovery stage. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. How we dig into this pain and how we overcome objections so the presentation, the close, is easy. It's a breeze. So why is identifying pain everything? Why is it so important? Pain is the reason someone buys. Okay, not the product itself. It is not your product that people are buying. They are buying the ability to escape pain. And if they don't feel a strong desire to escape pain, they will not take action. Selling without pain is like offering a glass of water to someone who isn't thirsty. They're going to say, I'm fine, thank you. It's the same with your prospects. It doesn't matter how great your product or your service is. It doesn't matter how much time you've put into your offer. If they don't have genuine desire for that offer, for that service, say, I'm good, thank you. Or maybe, I need to think about it, which is just a coward's objection. Now, pain triggers the limbic system, okay? It's the deep part of our brain. This is the emotional part of the brain that drives decision making. We need to invoke emotion. We need to make them feel the pain And I'm going to give you a bunch of frames in order for us to do that. We're going to uncover this as we progress through this video. Do not skip a single part of this video, by the way. Every single ounce of this video is integral to you getting the result that I've promised you at the start of this. If you want to get a close rate anywhere near ours, you need to understand each and every component of this, because every single point is important. So what is the job of the discovery stage? Well, this is the first stage of the 3-part meeting strategy that I recommend, where we have a discovery, where we're going to learn about the business. We then have the presentation stage, where we're going to present our offer, not always on a presentation, sometimes without visuals, sometimes just talking about it, depending on what we're selling. And then finally, we have the close, where we go through our price, any final objections, and then the next steps, like booking in our onboarding call, for instance. Now, I've mentored over 4,500 agencies. This strategy was built for agency owners, but can be applied for any business out there. But if you're an agency owner, you especially want to follow this to the T. So the discovery stage is after we've had our little bit of small talk on the meeting. Now, I'm going to presume you're on Zoom, but even better if you're in person. Okay, when we're in person, we've got our body language, we've got our energy, we're going to get a higher close rate. But if you can't do that, then on a Zoom call or Google Meet, it's absolutely fine. We've gone through that small talk, we've framed the meeting, we've let them know in one single statement how the meeting is going to go, the structure we're going to follow, and then we go straight into identifying where the prospect is currently at. So the first part of the discovery is establishing their current situation. Okay, and we want to know what their revenue is, for instance. We want to know what they're currently doing in retrospect to our service. Okay, so if we are an AI lead generation agency, for instance, we might ask them what current AI systems they're using for lead generation. We then want to understand their desired situation, so their desired revenue level, their goals, where they want to take the business, what problems they want to overcome, and this is where we start to uncover their pain. Okay, so we've got their current situation, their desired situation, and we're going to unpack all of the things that are standing in the way of them going from here to here. Okay, current to desired. We're going to uncover their pain. We're then going to understand them better than they do. We have to demonstrate that we understand them better than they do. And we do that through asking intelligent questions about their situation that they may or may not have already thought about, okay? And we're going to show that we genuinely care about their situation. And we do this by going what I call 3 layers deep in the pain. And that's what we're going to unearth in a section coming up. Now, in the discovery, it is equally as important to identify that the prospect is right for us as it is to identify that we are right for them. But I can't count how many sales calls that I've reviewed where I see business owners selling their service to someone that they actually don't need. They have no relevant pain to. And the truth is, the facts are, you're not meant to sell to everyone. If they don't feel pain, if you can't identify relevant pain, then you simply shouldn't sell to them. It's like offering someone the glass of water when they're not thirsty. Now, one thing that comes up often with agency owners who are offering revenue generating services like AI lead generation is you will come across a prospect that just doesn't want to grow their business further, or at least seems to not want to grow their business further. They're complacent in where they are, and they're happy to stay in the position that they're in. In most times, you should let them go unless you can reignite their flame within them, unless you can reignite that entrepreneurial spark inside of them, because it's very rare that a business owner ever started a business through a lack of ambition. It's hard to start business. It requires a lot of grit. It's much more likely that they had these big lofty goals but got beaten down over time and had these repetition of failures that knocked their confidence and then meant that they found it easier to just stay complacent than continue to go through a series of pain. And so we want to eliminate that. We want to make sure that they're not just lazy. And so if someone says to us, to be honest, I'm quite happy with where I am, I don't really want to grow, then we can simply ask them, well, has that always been the case? Has this been the goal from the start, hitting where you are right now at 50K a month? Or we could say, well, what changed? This is a couple years ago now, and we work with e-commerce brands in the agency as one of our core audiences, as a clothing brand owner. And I remember jumping on a call, and I'd sent over an outreach email to this prospect with an offer that we had back then was a guaranteed 3 times return on ad spend. So for every $1 they spend, they get $3 back on Facebook ads. They jumped at it. They were like, yeah, this sounds amazing. Well, let's do it. I jumped on a call. We started going for identification. I found out they were about 120 grand in revenue. When I asked what their goals were, they said, oh, I'm actually pretty happy where we are at the moment. And they wouldn't want to give me the goals. And so I asked, well, has this always been the case? Like, did you want to stay? Do you want to stay where you are at the moment? Like, yeah, we're pretty content with this. I was just a bit confused because of the tone of the email that they sent me versus the conversation I was having on the phone. And so I just called them out. I said, well, what are we doing here? Why are we having this conversation? And that triggered them to think deeper. That triggered them to think, yeah, you're right. And they gave me a half-assed answer to start off with, which was like, I just wanted to see what you had to say. You'd be like, oh, come on, John, let's be realistic. Okay, we'll figuratively call him John. Let's be realistic. You didn't just respond to my email excited about this opportunity, jump on a call with me, spend your time just to see what I had to offer. Like, there must be a reason why you did that. And then over time, we started to uncover that they had already worked with like 4 different marketing agencies and had this fear of failure. They didn't want to go through the same thing, didn't want to waste their time, really had their heckles up. But because of me probing and being a little bit cheeky and direct with the call out, I was able to overcome this issue. I was able to have a great discovery call with them. It's actually, from memory, a 2-call close, but we did get them over the line eventually because we had this guarantee. We still work with that business to this day. But it all comes from having the confidence to be able to call people out, not in an aggressive way, but in a way where you show genuine concern, a little bit of confusion, so the prospect thinks a little bit deeper. Okay, so don't rule out a business that seemingly wants to stay where they are until you at least attempt to reignite the flame within them. And if you can't, just let them go. Because sometimes their desire is buried under fear of failure. Repetition of failure beats down many entrepreneurs. That's what we have to deal with. Okay. So, how do we go 3 layers deep on pain? We uncover pain in the discovery stage, and that's just really the start. Let's say your prospect says, okay, we're struggling to generate enough leads. If you just stop there, and this is a very common pain or problem, I should say, for many business owners, we're just struggling to generate enough leads. If you stop there, like most people are like, okay, cool, they've got a lead generation problem. Well, that's perfect because I offer an AI lead generation service. Tick. You're not even close to a close at this point. You have to go much, much deeper on that problem. Okay? Just because they have a problem that relates to your offer, that your offer overcomes, doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form you have actually got enough buy-in for them to think you are right to deliver it. Because all we are trying to do on a sales meeting is build enough trust to prove that we are who we say we are and we can do what we say we can do. There are thousands of people with really great offers, with massive, elaborate guarantees, but in this world where we are in a trust crisis, we have to be able to prove that. And we do that through showing genuine care in understanding our prospects' problems more than they understand themselves. So there's 3 layers we're going to dive into. The first one is expanding on the pain. Okay. Now, surface level problems like I've got a lead generation issue isn't real pain. Okay. The goal is to reveal what's really, really broken inside of the business, and then we have to attach emotion to it. It's the emotion that is the most vital. Okay. Businesses are an extension of our personality. Okay? You may see them as a vehicle to make money, but what they really are is a vehicle to put our time, our energy, and our passion. And because of that, our emotion. And so if the business is experiencing a problem, we are experiencing personal problems. And so what we're trying to understand is the direct correlation between the business's problems and the owner's emotion. Okay, how does the business impact them personally? So generally our tone weapons are, we've got pace, where we're going to slow things down to show conviction and genuine care. And we're also going to play around with inflection, both upwards inflection and downwards inflection. If you want to know more about tonality, I created a cold calling training recently where I go deep into tonality. I'll put a link in the description. So for the first question, we might say, why specifically do you think that is? That's slow pace, downward inflection, makes things a lot more seriously. Then our next question, once we've dug into the actual situation, so we want to unearth this, we want to find out where they're actually at, we want to find out what they're actually doing as far as physical business tactics are concerned. We might have a couple of follow-up questions here. This isn't the only thing that you're going to ask, okay? So don't take this so literally that it's the only thing you say. The key is we're having a free-flowing conversation. We might have additional questions to make sure that we've ticked the box before we move on to the next thing. So why specifically do you think that is what are you actually, what is happening, what's happening inside of the business? And then we're going to ask about personal. How's that impacting you? Now, this question is digging out the specific emotion that is relating to the problem that they're facing. They might say, well, it's just frustrating. I'm just tired of it. Then we're just going to repeat what they say. So if they say, it's just frustrating, why frustrating? Now, by saying that, it enables the prospect to go a lot deeper into that emotion, but most importantly, enables them to relive that emotion. If we say, why frustrating? They're going to think back to the last time that they were frustrated surrounding that specific pain. They're going to relive it even for just a moment. And we want to let them feel it deeply. We don't want to speak on top of them. We don't want to bombard them with questions. We really want to slow down that pace and allow them to express and to vent those issues. And if we want to ask a couple of follow-up questions, we absolutely should. But the key on level 1 is we're expanding the pain. We're taking it from a surface level problem like, I've got a lead generation issue, to all of the little things that they've done that have resulted in them establishing they've got a lead generation issue. Then we've identified how it's actually impacting them personally. It's frustrating, I'm not able to grow, I'm just anxious about the future, like anxious. Allow them to then sit in that emotion, and this is us primed. Now again, how many people would stop at this point? I mean, let me ask you, how many of you would stop at this point right now? Would you stop at this point right now? If you would, you haven't done your job yet. You've got to go into layer 2 and layer 3. So, layer 2 is the opportunity cost. Once we've really unearthed the real situation, we must get admission that the time is now to actually fix that pain. Notice my tone. It's real, genuine concern. It's real, genuine care and confusion. How long has that been going on for? What we're doing here is we want them to think about how long they've been experiencing this pain, to realize that it's been an issue for a good amount of time and they still yet haven't done anything about it. Now, once they're thinking about that and they're thinking about, shit, it's already been a year, then we're going to hit them with a future pacing question, which is, what happens if you're still here in 6 months? So now they're thinking about the time that they've already spent with the problem. On top of another 6 months of the problem, it's going to unearth even more negative emotions surrounding it. And so this is going to give them urgency to act now. And we might even say, and we don't always have to do this because sometimes those 2 questions will be enough, we might want to say, why now? Why is this the moment to fix it? And if in any way, shape or form, you don't get admission that this is now the time to fix it, you've got to stay within that pain. You've got to unearth it deeper. You might even need to go ahead and break it down for them. What we're doing is we're building pressure and we're building a fear of loss. We need them to understand that they've been busy in their day-to-day. They're busy ignoring this problem and they have been ignoring this for 6 months already, 12 months already. And if they don't fix this, this is how they're going to feel in another 6 to 12 months. And today is the day that they have to solve it. And if they need a push, if they don't yet get into that state of mind where you're getting urgency from them, then a big bonus is you can use maths, what I call quickfire maths of losses. Okay, so an example of this would be, recently I was on a sales call where I was selling an AI lead generation service. And in this service, one of the biggest benefits for AI lead generation is speed to lead. Because what we're doing is we are generally generating leads for businesses. We're then using AI systems to appointment set those leads. So we contact the leads that are generated on Facebook and we book them into the client's calendar. Now, what is the single most important thing on increasing conversion rate from cold lead to prospect? Speed to lead. Now, they told me they were generating 300 leads a month, and I asked them how quickly they were contacting those leads. They told me the team are getting to them within about 2 hours. Now, I instantly knew I had a weapon, because the secret to converting cold leads is speed to lead. It's getting hold of them as quickly as possible. So I revealed a McKinsey stat, which says that leads who are contacted within 10 minutes are 2 to 3 times more likely or higher to convert. And so what I did was I took the 300 leads that they're generating, I asked them what their average conversion rate was, and then what their average lifetime value of those clients was. That gave me a figure of how much they're roughly making for their inbound leads per month at the moment. Times that figure by 2 because of the speed to lead difference in installing an AI appointment setting system, and it made it undeniable to them that they had a huge issue and that immediately we could solve that issue for them. Now, not only did I then have this contrasting figure of their current situation and the upside on where they are right now, but I then could extrapolate that through all of the past by asking them, how long have you been reaching out to leads within 2 hours? They said, well, it's been like that for the last 3 years. Do you really want me to do the maths on that? Now we have real pain and we have contrast to the situation that they've put themselves in. And then when we add, well, what happens if we're still doing this in 6 months? That is, based on what we just figured out, X amount of revenue lost on your current business. Can you really afford not to act today? Okay, so quick maths on the losses. That's the ultimate, like that's a real tie-in. You don't need that. You can often get people bought in just on the emotional state and the contrast to how long they've been in that situation versus still having to stick that out for another, let's say, 6 months. Okay, but it will be the final knife in the coffin when you can use it in those instances. So what is layer 3? We're not done yet. We're going deeper in this. Layer 3 is the admission that they need help. So we're simply going to ask what they've already done to try and fix this. So what have you already done to try and fix this problem? And our goal is for them to admit that they cannot do it alone. We want them to say, well, I've already tried this, I've already tried that. And what we're doing is we want them to admit to themselves that they can't do this by themselves because they've already attempted to do so. We might ask them, what's stopping you from just solving this by yourself? And then we might get a closer answer to what we're looking for if we don't initially get what we want from asking what they've already done to fix it. Okay, this ultimately will develop their need for a real solution, for you to provide the solution. It's not a need for the solution as a whole, it's a need for you on this call right now to be the person that's going to solve that problem for them, because they feel enough pain and enough urgency that they know that they have to act today to save themselves from going through another month of dealing with all of this misery, all of this bad emotion, all this negative state that they've had to go through that got them to this point in the first place. Today it is enough because we've dug the pain. So to recap that strategy, layer 1 is what is broken and how it feels. Layer 2 is why it matters now, and layer 3 is why they need you to fix it. Now, most salespeople stop at layer 1, but the deals are closed at layer 3. It's going to make the rest of your meeting so much easier, because if you get the true third layer buy-in, the deal's already done. All you have to do now is just not screw up the rest of the meeting, and first of all, make sure that they can actually afford your service. So if they're qualified, they're going to say yes. They're going to move forward, okay? Now, very quickly before we move on, if you want access to this entire training document I'm going through today for free, then go over to Instagram and follow me at Jordan Platten and DM me the word pain, and I'll get it sent straight over to you. In fact, I'm going to give you a system right now that you can use to feed this pain back into the machine and ensure that you increase the amount of qualified people you speak to every single week. So pain is actually leverage for improving your whole client acquisition system. The pain is what enables you to get higher quality people on the phone with you and understand who your true ICP is, your ideal customer profile. Because it's not everybody in a niche that you want to work with. It's a very specific subsection of that niche that you actually want to work with. Now, I want you to start thinking about your leads in 2 different categories: MQL and SQL. MQL is marketing qualified leads, okay? These are the leads that look like they are a good fit on paper, okay? So maybe from what we've seen on our website, on our lead generation efforts, or maybe even what they put on their application form or call booking form. Then we have SQL, which are sales qualified leads, okay? Now, these are the ones that are a fit after the discovery stage, okay? So they look like they're a fit on paper, but they are also a fit after the discovery stage itself, when we have spoken to them and we have validated that they are actually qualified. So how do we segment the list? How do we segment from marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads? And what kind of systems can we build to ensure that we increase the volumes of both of these two things? Ultimately, we want to increase the volume of SQL. That is the most valuable lead that we can have. Okay, so this is how you can use AI to pour gasoline on this fire. And by the fire, I mean the fire we have ignited by unlocking the ability to sell to people, by being able to dig pain on the sales meeting. If you want to be able to increase your close rate long term exponentially, you don't just want to become a good salesperson who can host good discoveries. You want to be able to speak to more people who are suitable for your service. And that comes from leveraging the pain you identified on the meeting. So here are a few systems that you can use to achieve this. Now, the first thing that I would recommend you doing is setting up an automation, and you can do this on Zapier, you can do this on Make, you can do this on N8N, and it's an automation that filters only MQL leads and sends them back to the Facebook pixel. Now, this is on the presumption for those of you guys that are using paid acquisition as your main lead generation channel, okay? If you're not running paid ads, you can skip this one. But those of you that are, this is essential if you want to get higher quality leads and increase your MQL and SQL rate, okay? So what we first need to do is make sure that on our calendar booking, wherever that's hosted, be that Calendly, be that Go High Level, wherever we're hosting it, we want to make sure that we have a qualification question on that booking form, okay? This could also be a qualification question on your lead form, on your landing page, or even on your Facebook lead form. Now, for us in our agency, that's a revenue-based question. So what is your current revenue level? For you, it might even be a budget-related question. You've got to establish based on your unique circumstances, but broadly speaking, a revenue-based question will do. We only work with companies above 50K a month, for example. Now, what you're going to do is go over to then Zapier, Make, or N8N. You're going to set your trigger as when a new calendar booking is made. The next step is going to be a filter that filters out any bookings that don't qualify because they haven't hit your criteria on that one specific question. That is going to then fork on your automation, and it's going to do two things. Now, if they are qualified, then you want to set an action to add a tag to your CRM system that states MQL. They're a marketing qualified lead. And then the second action you want is the Facebook conversion pixel. And you're going to send a custom conversion event straight to the Facebook pixel that states qualified schedule. So now what you're doing is you are canceling your unqualified leads automatically, preserving and protecting your calendar space. And when they are qualified, you're tagging them as an MQL on the system, and you are sending that qualified data back to the Facebook pixel. This allows you to create a campaign on Facebook that only is optimized for qualified leads. So over time, the qualified people that you're speaking to dramatically increases because you're no longer optimizing for people that are unqualified. I cannot count how many ad accounts I have seen where people aren't doing this. This is a big hack, okay? If you're running ads right now, this is going to increase your conversion rate by at least 50% on the back end. So that's marketing qualified leads. What about the sales qualified leads? What do we do there? Well, what we do is we train our reps to mark SQLs on what we call post-call reports. So after we have a sales call, our sales team will fill in all of the information about that prospect, okay, the objections that they handled, some of the pain points that they face, and they will also then tick a box that says SQL, okay, are they a sales qualified lead? But it has to be based on a specific set of criteria that we have set, so it's not just based on the gut. So that solves the problem of you having the data ongoing and being able to understand whether someone is SQL or not. But if you have historical data and you want to reverse engineer this so you can extract some value from it, then your best bet is taking all of your call transcriptions, going over to ChatGPT, simply stating what your SQL is and getting it to analyze those sales call transcriptions and give you a list of all of the leads that are qualified. So you can go through that historic data. It's going to take you, you're going to have to do it transcription by transcription because can't yet handle enough context window in order for you to cover that. But that's really the most efficient way for you to go back on historic. The best thing going forward is definitely having a post-call report where the closer has to mark whether they are qualified or not. So now we are tracking our MQLs, we're also tracking our SQLs. How are we going to use this data to pour gasoline on the fire? Well, we're going to look at all those post-call reports for SQL specifically. We're going to look at all the pain points that are being faced on the meetings. We're going to look at all the objections that are being handled. And in the best case scenario, we're going to upload that entire data set onto a LLM like ChatGPT. and we're going to get it to analyze that and summarize the most common pain points and objections. And what this gives us is a deep understanding of what our best prospects are dealing with within their businesses. Not all of the pain points that any prospect ever who is unqualified is talking about to our sales team. That's not valuable information, because we're looking at pains for people that aren't relevant for our service. We only want to be digging deep and finding patterns on the pains of the SQL, of the sales qualified leads. Now, when we do that, we adjust our front-end marketing. We adjust our ad copy, we adjust our hooks, we adjust any case studies on our website to mirror the pain of our best clients. Because what we do on the front end of our advertising will directly correlate with the prospects that end up on the phone. If we put out an ad that says, do you want to make more money? We're going to get prospects that want to make more money. If we put out an ad that says, do you want to sell your business? We're going to get prospects that want to sell their business. Okay, so if we analyze all of the most qualified leads that we've got and we adjust our front-end marketing, we are going to increase our SQL over time, which will have a monumental impact on your close rate on the back end. And this is what the big businesses don't want you to know. This is how big businesses optimize their marketing relentlessly, so they are only speaking to the key, most significant pain points that their SQL are actually facing. So start collecting this data today, get it in ChatGPT, get it to analyze, and then get it to start refining your front end. Just look at the impact it has on the back. Okay, I've got more for you guys. This is for those of you that haven't yet been on loads of sales calls with your prospects, that don't really have the data on your MQL and SQL yet, but you want to be able to best serve the clients and understand their pain before you end up speaking to them. So I built an AI research system that many people use in our community to understand the pains of their ICP, because the truth is, over time you're going to have a very clear understanding of the clients that you want to work with and the issues that they're facing, the pains, so you can really pre-sell them in that discovery. But up until this point, you're going to have to bridge your knowledge gap from doing research online. The best way for you to do that is by using AI. And so we created a ChatGPT prompt, or whatever LLM you want to use, and you can use this prompt to prepare before any call. And it goes as follows, and I'll show you it in practice. I run a business type. I own a marketing agency that helps dentists generate more leads. And our offer statement is generate 50 more leads per month or you don't pay, for example. It's a pretty shit cliche offer, but you get the idea. You are a sales researcher preparing for a discovery call with a potential client. Their website is www.dentist.com. I want you to, number one, identify what industry they are in. Number two, based on the offer I've shared, outline 3 to 5 specific pain points this service would help them solve in their industry. 3, identify any weak points or growth opportunities visible on their website. Or 4, suggest 3 specific targeted questions I can ask to uncover pain related to our offer during the call. Keep your response concise and layman's terms. Now, for many years, people or agencies just had to manually research a prospect. You can now do this within 10 minutes of the call. I'd still recommend going on the website and validating the information that you find, but I'm going to show you this in practice right now, and this is going to set you up for success in the discovery stage and give you a lot more confidence in your ability to dig much deeper in the pain and go those 3 layers deep. So let's go over to ChatGPT. Let's paste this prompt, and let's say marketing agency that helps law firms generate more cases. Our offer statement is: we help law firms generate more cases using AI appointment setting systems. And then we're going to put a website in there. This is obviously a basic offer, just using it as an example. I'm going to let that run, and you can see this in action. Okay, so here we go. What industry they're in? They're a large UK firm. They offer a range of legal services. Okay, they work with a lot of industries. A big business here, offices all over the UK. Probably not the most ideal one for me to do this on, but this is a good test of the system. How your AI appointment setting offer helps. Lost leads, fast follow-up. Yeah, that's one we've already covered. Too much admin, big one. Slow responses, hard to scale, messy follow-ups. Great. These are all things that we've got already covered in this video, but great solutions there. Weak points on the website, they clearly care about clients and teamwork, so they're open to smart tools. They serve many industries, means things might be complex, okay, so complexity might be an issue. Smart question to ask on the call. How do you currently handle appointment bookings across your teams? Good question. Do you ever miss out on potential clients because of slow follow-up? That's a really good, relevant question. Have you looked into using AI or automation to save your team time and increase bookings? Okay, another good question. I'll probably just say AI automation to save your team time. Might be a good question there as well. But this is a fantastic foundation for anyone that hasn't worked in this industry before, that doesn't understand what's going to be, the best pain, the most relevant pains or questions to ask. That's going to save you a whole bunch of time in just blasting through the website. So if you're just starting out, use this framework in order to get a depth of experience before you then start tracking those SQL pain points over time and adjusting your front end, either outreach or marketing. So that is how you increase your close rate. Let's quickly recap. Most salespeople chase the close. The best ones obsess over the discovery. Genuine pain is what drives action, not logic, and definitely not the features of your service. And if you practice this, your close rate will take care of itself. Go and apply it for yourself. Let me know how you get on in the comments. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.